Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 2 of the Real Influencers Project. I'm your host, Craig Reynolds, and with me today is a man who is a U.S. Navy veteran, was voted into the North Carolina Military Veterans Hall of Fame in 2018, was the first African-American NASCAR champion. We'll talk about that. That should be fantastic. He was voted Best Custom Clothier 8 times, voted Best Men's Suits 3 times, voted Best New Clothing Store, and in 2020 was voted Best of the Best by Charlotte Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. William Wilson. William, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, man.
Oh, no, thanks for being on. I see that big ring on your finger. There seems like success has followed you everywhere you have gone. However, there's one common denominator. That's you. So it can't be a coincidence.
I think it's just, well, there's two common denominators, me and God.
There we go.
I think it's more of the blessing. It's much less about me, much more about him and just the blessings he's given me. I just put myself in a position to let him do everything else. It's wherever it went, it was going to go.
So let's get started with where you came from. Where did you grow up?
A little small town called Gregory, Arkansas, right outside of a little bit bigger town called Augusta, Arkansas.
Okay.
So, the little small town, like my graduating class had 41 people, and I didn't go to a private school. So it's a small farm town, small town Americana.
Okay. So after school, did you enlist into the Navy straight away, or did you go to college, or what was the plan?
I actually joined what's called a delayed entry program my junior year of high school. And 6 days after I graduated high school, I left boot camp.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I went out of high school a week. I graduated May 20th, May 25th. The recruiter picked me up, took me to the MEP station in Little Rock, and we flew out on May 26th for boot camp.
Was that the first time that you had ever left town and got to start seeing the world?
No, I had an aunt that lived in Chicago. So I went there.
My hometown. All right, there we go.
Yeah, she lived off 76 and South Shore, a block from Rainbow Beach.
Nice.
So, but I would go there, a couple of summers I went there. But aside from that, yeah, it's pretty much the only time I ever really left.
So
first time I ever flew.
Really?
Yep, first time I ever was on a plane was when I left for boot camp.
And where was boot camp?
Great Lakes in Chicago.
Okay, so then after that, where were you stationed and where did you get to go from there? Like, what are some of the things that you got to see and experience?
Oh man, I went to Connecticut. Just for schools alone, I went to Connecticut. Well, I went to electronic school in Connecticut, Great Lakes after I finished boot camp. Then I went to Connecticut, San Diego, DC, back to San Diego. Then I've been stationed all kind of places. I got to travel the world, commissioned a submarine, got to do a lot of different things.
Whoa, how long were you in the submarine?
I went initially, my initial job was a submarine sailor. And when I finished A school and C school, they sent me to the USS Scranton, which was still being built in Newport News. So I went, it was called TAD, temporary assigned duty, to the USS Bergall we were underwater for 72 days. So that was my first time ever going to sea. We were underwater for 72 days. I actually got my dolphins in 30 days. So I got a Navy Achievement Medal for that. And then I got back to the Scranton, requal there. We got her commissioned, did all the sea trials, all that, got commissioned, took her on her first med cruise. And oddly enough, I was just in San Diego for my birthday last week, matter of fact. And they moved it, because she was home port in Virginia, Norfolk. But they moved it to San Diego. So I was on a harbor cruise. I actually saw the USS Scranton there. Really? I had contacted Squadron 11 a while back ago to see if I could take a tour if I was ever out there. But because of COVID and everything, you can't take tours. But hopefully, when COVID finally ends and things go back to normal, I can take a cruise and go see the old girl.
That is amazing. Number one, happy belated birthday. I'm a sucker for a birthday. I love it. Absolutely. What was the influence behind you enlisting into the Navy?
Well, I feel like there's two types of people. There's doers and there's and there's like wishers. And I would much rather just try something and just wish I'd done this and wish I could do this. So I just tried. And I didn't want to just read about places and stuff. I wanted to actually see them. And the Navy gave me the best opportunity to go to those places and actually see them.
What was your favorite place that you got to see?
I don't know. Australia was nice, man. Australia, being a black man, like the way we got treated over there was so different. It was like we were superstars.
Really?
So it was really different. The best I've ever been treated just locally, just by this normal people, was when I was in Australia. And I'd heard about that when we were going on our way over there. But that was true. But I love being in the States. As much as I love to travel, I love being in the States. I just absolutely love being in America. And the more you travel outside of America, the more you appreciate the things we have in America.
Mm-hmm.
But oddly enough, the more time you spend in America, the more time you realize how many superficial and irrelevant things we focus so much attention on, instead of just the basic things that we're to be appreciative of. We really realize how, for lack of a better term, just how unappreciative and entitled we are as a country and as a people.
I feel the same way about being able to get out and travel. I was able to see the globe racing my bike for a number of years, but I always wanted to come home. As beautiful as it was to see other parts of this world, because it's so big, I loved coming home. Like for me, this is where I belong, right? I love being here. And being here, obviously I'm in North Carolina now with you. Let's fast forward to how did you get to North Carolina and be inducted into the NC Veterans Hall of Fame?
I was stationed at the time in Virginia Beach, and I came out to visit a friend of mine down here, and I started doing some research. Like, man, it's really nice in Charlotte. I'd never been to Charlotte. This is really nice. I started doing some research, and it was plenty of jobs, plenty of money, and women outnumbered being 4-1. I'm like, done. Makes sense to me. So, like I said, so when I got out of the Navy, I sold cars in Virginia Beach for 6 months. And just as I tied up loose ends, kind of get a feel for being a citizen, a regular citizen, because I had never been a regular citizen. I went right out of high school straight to the military.
Right.
So, but I moved down here. I plan on being here maybe 3 or 4 years. Then as I was figuring it all out, here I am now. I moved here in '98. I'm still here.
It doesn't sound like you're going anywhere.
I don't know, man. I'm open to it. I mean, the business community and climbing, what I do, I can kind of do what I do anywhere now.
Right.
And these cold weathers, and I'm starting to see some of these golf courses that people playing golf in Arizona, and I'll fly to see my clients out in LA and Vegas and Arizona and stuff like that. And people are like, man, you need to move out here. A lot of my friends moving out that way. And there are some appealing parts to it. I will say that.
Right. So where did the Hall of Fame come into play? How does that happen? If you're stationed and you're moving all around, how do you get into the Veterans Hall of Fame that's based in North Carolina?
Well, I was nominated here. I think you get in through either your military career. I mean, you have to be either from North Carolina or lived here 10 years. Obviously, having served in the military. I think there's one other criteria, but I can't remember what it is. And someone has to nominate you. So I got nominated, and when the board voted to, select their inductees, I got inducted in the inaugural class in 2018. So wow. I was one of the first class, the first Hall of Fame class.
Very nice.
And I got into all my charitable work, community work. I do a lot of stuff with charity and things like that. So that's how I got in.
Very nice. Well, congratulations on that as well. You can't think about North Carolina or Charlotte in general without thinking about NASCAR. And it says here you were the first African American to be a part of a NASCAR championship program. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you get into there? What was the influence on you getting into stock cars?
Like with most things I do, I see something that interests me and I just try. My theory is always what's the worst that can happen? So I went to a race I didn't grow up watching NASCAR or any of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. I went to a race with a friend of mine with some coworkers, and it was an ARCA race. So they had qualifying They had an ARCA race earlier that day, earlier at night. And I'm looking around like, man, this is pretty cool. I want to get involved with this. And the guy was sitting next to me named Steve Allen was one of my coworkers. He said, Will, look around. And I looked around. The only people that had events the only people that looked like me had event staff on their shirt. And I was like, wow. He said, it's hard enough to get into NASCAR if you know someone. You don't know anyone and you're black. But I didn't know enough to not know what I wasn't supposed to know. So I just knocked on a bunch of doors. I developed a whole driver training program. And I literally drove and knocked on all these different doors. So all the teams are here in Charlotte. So I just went and just knocked on different doors. And I went to Ultra Motorsports, and the GM was having to walk by just as I was talking with the receptionist, so I could drop off a packet. We had a conversation. He said, honestly, I was too old to start trying to drive. These kids started at 5, 6 years old.
Yeah, they're babies, yeah.
So, but he let me hang around the shop and went from there as far as getting that part of it. But the way I first got inside the track, a gentleman named Sam Bell Navis and Tinsley Hughes, they were starting a team called BH Motorsports out in China Grove. And I read about them in the paper. I'm like, well, it'll be first minority-owned team. Like, well, this may be my best shot. So I would drive, and I was living in Ballantyne at the time. So I drove from Ballantyne to China Grove every day for 2 weeks. And I would get there every time I got there.
For those of you that don't know, Ballantyne is South Charlotte. China Grove is way far north of Charlotte, and it's not close by any stretch of the imagination. There's the expressways here aren't the best, so you're navigating a lot just to get there. So go ahead.
Yeah, it was about an hour, 2-minute drive every time. Once you got off the interstate, you still had ways to go.
Yeah.
So I went there every day for 2 weeks. And every time I would get there, I'd either just miss Sam, or as soon as I'd leave, he would show up every time. So one day we got there and we were both there. And Doug Richard, who was actually, funny enough, the crew chief for Dale Earnhardt for his first championship, was going to be their crew chief. And me and Sam we met, we talked, we hit it off. And of course, he told me I was too old to drive too. But he let me hang around the shop. So that got me into the garage initially. Kind of got me familiar, more those kind of things. Like I said, I developed a driver program. I kept trying to shop around. And eventually I ended up at Ultra Motorsports. And a couple years later, we won a championship. And at the time, I was the only black people I saw in the sport at all at the time. Phil Horton was one of the pit crew chiefs, but he coached a lot of other teams. He didn't coach our team. So I never worked with Phil on that capacity. And Bill Lester was driving in the truck series at the time.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's going to do, it's really funny. He just wrote a book, and he's actually going to race in the truck series in Atlanta, the upcoming Atlanta race. That's kind of neat.
Really? That's awesome. Mm-hmm. He's based out of Atlanta, right?
Yeah, he lives in Atlanta. Yeah. And it's really funny because the night he won the pole, he's the first African American, I think he's probably still the only one that's won a pole in a NASCAR event. But he won the pole in the truck race. Now we were both in Dodge teams and all this. Yeah. So I come in the next morning, I'm going to go to the shop, I got my Dodge hat on, I'm walking in. And this whole gaggle of reporters just stopped me. And they're asking me all these questions, but they're such ambiguous questions that I'm just answering them. They're like, what's it like to be the first person to do what you're doing, to be a pioneer? So I'm thinking they're talking about from pit road. So I'm just answering all these questions. So then one of the reporters says, what's it going to be like, at a green flag drop? I said, what'll be just like any other race for me? I'm going to make sure I got my jacket ready and get ready for the first pit stop. Greg, they looked at me like I was a side dish they didn't order. They'll be like, what? And they're like, who are you? I'm like, I'm William Wilson. Who do you think I was? They all thought I was Bill Lester.
Yeah, of course.
They saw a black guy with Dodge walking through the garage area. And Bill and I look nothing alike.
I was just going to say, and you and Bill look just alike too. Not even close.
I'm like, it was the craziest thing. But what's ironic, when they realized I wasn't Bill, they just all walked off. But it never dawned on them, I was the first full-time pit crew guy in NASCAR.
Right.
So, but, they didn't care.
We've got a ton of hilarious stories like that. So let's move on to the clothing brand. Because for me, U.S. military, NASCAR, fashion. I don't see the two that tie together. The
Oh,
three that tie together there.
it gets crazier. I actually
Oh,
own a construction. I own a construction company. I was a framing contractor while I was doing the NASCAR stuff. So at the beginning of that part of it, so I was doing all of that. And the reason I had to bring the construction part in, because that's what led to the clothing part. How about it makes no sense at all, right?
right. This is awesome.
But yeah, but I was a framing contractor. So I own a framing company. We would just frame these big custom homes. But I had guys I had trained, that were trained to do the work. I'm just having business meetings and things like this. So I always had a suit on. I would check my job sites in the morning and I would check them in the afternoon. But in between, I would just always be having meetings and stuff. And one day, one of the homeowners, he was building like a 15,000 square foot house. And he stopped and said, "Man, Will, you always dressed so nice. Could you help me put my wardrobe together?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't know anything about fashion. I know how to build houses and blow up stuff." So, but long story short, I helped him out. He liked what I did for him. He started sending people to me. So then they started calling me. And then I started charging them. I thought to myself, I'm telling these guys what to go get. If I could provide it, there may be a business in this.
Right.
So I started doing some research, went down to Anna's Alteration right there in Pineville. James Chin actually taught me how to measure.
Really?
And I put an infrastructure together. Just took a wild shot. I launched William Wilson Clothing in November of 2018. Of 2008, weeks after Obama got elected. And 14 months later, I did a suit for Calvin Richardson for the Grammys, and he got best dressed on the red carpet.
Whoa.
My life is just a weird, crazy life. I just try things, and if they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. But I made accomplishments. I've succeeded at a lot of things. I failed at a lot of things. But, you just try. Try while you can. I don't want to be that guy that's 80 years old going, "I wish I had tried this. I wish I tried this. I wish I'd done this." I never want to be that guy.
Amazing. I mean, I love how you're aware enough to see the steps and the progression and the opportunities that each step is providing for you. There's a lot of self-awareness and presence that has to take place in order for that to happen, right?
Yeah, I think you just have to ask yourself, the world is full of people that will stop you on their own, or with the doubters and the naysayers and things like this. You don't have to join in on them. And there's nothing wrong with failing. If you try something that doesn't work, so be it. Find the thing that works for you. Eventually you'll find your thing. You find your thing and you're good at it and you're enjoying it. And it's great. I just think people need to find their own happy place. I think we spend so much time trying to make other people happy and impress other people and make sure we drive the right car and live in the right house and have the right neighborhood and got the right network of friends, access to the right people to make other people happy. And then you end up getting all those things. You're not really happy because it's not really your thing. So I think you find what makes you happy, doing what you want to do, and live there.
That's awesome. I love your truth. That's amazing. Someone's watching this and they are interested in getting some William Wilson clothing. How do they get a hold of you?
The easiest way is go to the website, williamwilsonclothing.com. And all my social media stuff is there. They can email me there directly. I reply back to all the emails and we just get it taken care of.
Nice. And do you go to them? Do they need to come to you for measurements? Can they send you their measurements? Like, how does that work?
All the above.
Okay.
I do suits for GL Hughley and Eddie Griffin, all these guys, like Coach Brown, Brenton Buckner. Like, I was in Arizona 2 weeks ago to see Brenton Buckner and Ray Brown. He used to be the offensive line coach for the Panthers. They're out in Arizona, so I flew out there to see them. So I could fly to go see them, or they come to my shop at 811 Poplar Road here in Charlotte, in the Myers Park area.
Nice. So what's next for you? What's sticking with the clothing, obviously. Any other projects in the works?
Not really, mostly just the clothing stuff. I'm gonna start my podcast back up because I really enjoy speaking and talking to people and educating people. Not in like a teacher standpoint. I'd hate to be a teacher. I don't have the temperament. I'm not built for that. I know I'm not. But I love like giving people advice on starting businesses because now, like, entrepreneurship is cool. It's the cool thing to do now. Right? Everybody wants to be a CEO and want to be a boss, all this stuff. Unfortunately, so many entrepreneurs are misleading budding entrepreneurs on what entrepreneurship is like. they make it seem like, get your website, start your business, and you just suddenly start making money. Get your Facebook page, Instagram account, and everybody's gonna come running at your door. And they don't show them all the work that goes into it and all the losses that you take, and working 18-hour days, 20-hour days, 4 or 5 months in a row, and thinking everything's all set up, and then 5 clients, have to reschedule or back out, or just all the aggravation and the pain and the hard parts that come with entrepreneurship. They post all the great stuff on their social media, so you just see their highlight reel.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to be able to tell people, and I love being an entrepreneur. I do. I absolutely love it. But it's not for everybody, and that's okay. So many entrepreneurs make it seem like if you're not an entrepreneur, you're a loser or you're whatever. Or they're always trying to get you to, quote, get out of your comfort zone, all this stuff. I think that's insane. If you're making $50,000 a year and you're happy and you go see your kids play t-ball or your daughter's recital or whatever it is that you're into, or you're just home to play flag football with your buddies and you're happy, stay there.
Right.
If you're winning in life, you have what you wanted and you're happy, you're winning. But so many people are like, get out of your comfort zone, you can be more. They may not want to be more. A sloth is happy being a sloth. A sloth doesn't try to be a cheetah. The sloth is who he is. The cheetah doesn't try to be a lion. People if you find a place where you're happy and you're legit happy on your own, live your life in your happiness and your tribe will find you. You don't have to please other people who, at the end of the day, they spend all their time telling everyone else how they should live their lives. They're not living that life themselves.
Beautiful. Very, very well said. What's the podcast called, or what's it going to be called when you start it back up again?
I'm working between Build Over Grind, and that's the working title right now, Build Over Grind. But I'm not really sure. We may come up with something else. I plan on launching it in the next couple of weeks, though.
Good. Well, I look forward to listening to it. For sure.
It'll be fun.
Good. Well, William,
listen to it. I'll have you as a guest.
Hey, you let me know. I'll do it. I'd love to.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun.
Absolutely, and fun is where it's at for me as well. My dad used to tell me, if you're not having fun, it's not worth doing.
Oh yeah, I live by one main mantra in life: have as much fun as you can without hurting anybody.
There you go.
That's my thing. I try to spend as much of my day laughing, joking, smiling as I can. I understand you're gonna have some bad parts of your day. Sometimes you have bad days, but people rarely really have fully bad, a death in the family, something like that. That's a bad day.
Yeah.
But most people don't really have bad days. They have bad moments in that day. They choose to just carry them all day long.
Mm-hmm.
I live by the mindset that, one speed bump or one pothole doesn't make the whole road bad. But there are people that hit the pothole at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they mentally stay in that pothole all day long. Right. I just kind of get out of the pothole, just keep, because the rest of the road is smooth. Why am I going to spend 100 miles on a smooth road complaining about the pothole or the speed bump, 80 miles ago? Right. I'm not appreciating the 80 miles of smooth road.
Right. Wonderful perspective. That's great. A lot of people could live by that for sure. William, thank you so much for your time this morning. I really appreciate it. I know we talked about doing this a while ago, but I'm really glad we were able to catch up and have you on.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me. Anytime you want me, just hit me up.
Absolutely. And you said it, I will.
No problem.
If you guys like what you're hearing, please make sure you subscribe here on YouTube, and you can do the same on Apple Podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a great day, and we'll see you soon.